Okay, so here we have my budget. So I put this together because I wanted to work out, actually, can I afford to build a man cave? And as you can see, I put all this together and I can't afford to build a man cave. It's 9,654, which is too expensive. And that was using a plinth system for the base, but that was just way too expensive. So then I thought, actually, let's do away with the plinth base system and use a concrete base. It was still way too expensive. It was 8,188, you can see at the bottom there. To bring the price down, I thought, let's do reclaimed parts and second-hand parts. And as you can see in this column here is what I budgeted. So 5,273. That's better. I'm all set to build my man cave. But as you can see, actual price I spent 7,713. So I blew the budget. I'll give you a little rundown of all the parts. So all the parts are here in the left column. So I used a breeze block base system, and I know that caused a little bit of controversy. People thought it wasn't strong enough on YouTube, but I checked it out with builders, and they said it was fine and the cheaper way of doing it. And it's all still standing strong. So here are all the items here. I'll scroll down so you can then take a screenshot if you need to of all these. I wanted to use like a genie clip system which used a resilient bar for soundproofing, and that was just too expensive. So I did my own basically. So I used wooden battens on the wall, and then I put rubber over the top of them, and so it acts like a buffer. So the plasterboard sits on top of the rubber, and it was like a buffering system for soundproofing, and used thick plasterboard and used sound-proof insulation, and that worked really well. I'm able to play loud music in here, so it's great. So it's the total spend here, so 7,700. But also it's worth making sure your measurements are right as well. So on here I worked out a formula for making sure all my measurements are all right and exactly what quantity of wood that I needed. And that's it. That's my budget. I managed to get hold of some plans from a friend of mine who was also doing an outhouse, which is handy, which had the measurements just on there as well. And it had the sides and the back, and actually that's one way up. And you could then see how much slope you should have on the flat roof. So I used all those as a guide, and the height guide, inside height guide as well. And then I made my sketches. So I sketched out what I wanted mine to look like. But chatting to my wife, she wanted a more traditional look, and I managed to get second-hand doors that look like this on eBay. And again, this was quite a sort of traditional looking thing. This one was a sketch of it, but it didn't have that profile. And then realised actually that's how I want it to look, just with the beams. And here's another one then, just with the sketching of how I wanted it to look. And then just with a more three-dimensional look as well. And then with the beam profile that you can see there. I then mapped out what I wanted the block base to look like, and worked out how many blocks I needed, and then what the dimension of the sleepers that I wanted, and then just worked out then the sort of other areas, things like the back and the dimensions of that. So that's the window at the back, and then that was the shed part, and there's a partition wall that goes along there. I just worked out my studs and how I wanted each stud then to look, and then worked out the sort of side area as well, and then the front where the shed door goes as well. So here's all my sketches. You can see this, they're quite basic, a lot of sketches here, but it's worth mapping it all out and worth looking at that. So that's then the side office with the windows, looking at the nice fence. I know I did really want a nicer view, but unfortunately it had to be the fence, and they let in a lot of light during the day, so it's quite nice. It works out quite well, and I got the windows quite cheaply as well off eBay. and then I worked out how much board I needed, how much USB board I needed, and then again looked at the sort of sides, the shed side, and how much then the each gap was of the stud work. And again, I think somebody mentioned actually needed better headers over the windows, and yeah, looking back I probably did, but that was just not investigating that fully. But actually they're still standing, so it's quite good. I think because the roof isn't too heavy, it's been okay. And again, here's some other sketches then. So it's worth working out how much wood you need. Even then I still have to go to Wix. Then worked out the roof plan then, how many beams I needed. That's the stud wall, that's the doors at the front, and that's the shed door. That's the shed area there, that's the windows, and yeah, so I just worked out what length of beam and what I wanted those beams to look like. And then here, then worked out my roof. So it's a rubber roof at the top. It's got a USB board underneath the rubber roof, so I can walk on it, because otherwise it would have damaged the insulation. And then underneath that it's got vapor barrier, and then it's got the plywood, and then they're the joist, the rafters. So the electrician was really handy. He came around and he advised me what I needed. So this is the sketch of the plan. That's the front door, that's the shed door. So he said you know, exactly what I needed for the ring main for the power, and then for the lights as well, and how much I needed, and then also for the outside lights. And so then I wrote that down, what he mentioned, what I needed, which is 6mm twin and earth from the consumer unit to the outside armoured box. So that was from power from the house to the outside of the house to the back of the house, and then I used an armoured cable, a 6mm armoured cable, all the way from the back of the house all the way to the garden office, and then that went into an armoured box on the side then, and then I've got a 4-way consumer unit, and that's it. That's my plans, and then the hard work began.